Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the Italian tubular cast-off, or the Italian cast-off. This is done with a sewn method. It's kind of a little bit like Kitchener. And the objective that we're trying to achieve is to get the bind-off to look like the cast-on here. This is the Italian cast-on, which creates this tubular-like edge that is reversible. It's very flexible and stretchy, and looks great in this brioche rib fabric. Again, this is a sewn cast-on method, so I'm going to be using a tapestry needle, a sewn bind-off method. And I find that this chibi needle, which has this little hook here at the end, is actually useful in doing this technique, and you'll see why in a little bit. Now, to get ready for this, I've got a brioche rib sample here. You can see the rib stitches in the brioche pattern. I'm going to use the main color, or the blue, for doing my bind off. So I've already cut my contrast color, the brown here, and woven it in just to get that tail out of the way. So you can see that here. Now, to prepare, I've cut my main color strand about 4 times longer than the width of my piece. Actually, I do it a little bit longer than that even, just to make sure I've got enough. Now, we're going to start by doing a purlwise insert with the tapestry needle. I'm going to pull that yarn all the way through that first stitch. Now I'm going to take the yarn around to the back of the work, and this is the tricky part. You're going to insert the tapestry needle between the first and the second stitch on the needle here. Insert it through, use that little hook to grab the front leg of the second stitch. Hopefully you can see that here. I've grabbed the front leg of the second stitch, just that front leg, and I'm going to insert my tapestry needle knitwise into that second stitch. Again, pull through, and that yarn will just wrap around. Now, with any sewn bind-off technique, you want to do it loosely at first, and then you can always come back and tighten up later. But it's more difficult if you do it too tight in the beginning. Now I'm going to do a knitwise insert on this first stitch, and I'm just going to knit that stitch off. We're done with that one, and pull through. Now I'm going to skip the first stitch on my needle and insert purlwise into the next stitch. And in this case, because it's got a yarn over, I'm treating that as one stitch, so I insert both through the yarn over and the actual stitch itself. Purlwise insert and pull through. Okay, now take the working yarn to the back of the work, and the tapestry needle you're going to insert through the first stitch on the needle, through the back loop knitwise, pull through, and actually now you can slip that stitch off. I'm going to skip the next stitch. In this case, it's a working, get that yarn out of the way, a working stitch and yarn over pair. Skip that, come to the next stitch, and I'm going to do my back to front insert here between those two stitches. And again, you can try to catch that front leg. If you're just finding that catching that front leg is too tricky, like I've just done here, another way to do that is just insert the yarn all the way through that stitch pair. Now you can come back and do a knitwise insert into that front leg of the second stitch on the needle. Knitwise insert, pull through, and you've accomplished the same thing. Now I'm going to come around to the front of the work, and I'm going to knit off my first stitch or stitch pair, skip the second stitch on the needle, which is now the first stitch on the needle, skip that stitch and do a purlwise insert through the next pair. And you can see that I'm actually working the pairs of stitches. The same 2 stitches are worked on the front side, and the contrast color stitches are always worked on the back side. Take the yarn, working yarn around to the back, insert knitwise through the back leg of that first stitch on the needle, and I can actually knit it off. Skip my first stitch pair now and do my front leg catch again. I'll do it the catch way this time, and pull through. Bring my working yarn around to the front of the needle, knit off that first stitch pair, and again you can see, keep the working yarn on top of the work there, and do a purlwise insert across. Okay, I've continued working across my row, and I've just finished doing my back through the back loop of my contrast color stitch. I'm going to do my last contrast color stitch here, catching that front leg, the working yarn down below the needle. I'm going to knit off that pair, come over to my purlwise insert here, take it around to the back, knit that off, the last stitch, and then you can just come right back around and do a knit off on that first stitch there. And here's the result. And you can see I haven't really even tightened this up. I could tighten it up a little bit, but it creates a beautiful edge treatment. It's very flexible. It looks great in this brioche rib, but quite frankly, it works great on a lot of different stitches. Any rib fabric, I think, benefits from this kind of treatment. Once you get the hang of it, it's very easy, it's very quick to do, and creates a beautiful edge.